CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I am your co-host, Nick Quaglia, here with Marv, Ezhan, and Mike Molyneaux. In the middle of July here, the guys are back together.
Yes, sir.
And we got some legacy talk. We're going into the season. We see Tom Brady today celebrating at the White House with his guys, the Tampa Bay Bucks. And, you know, he's being a funny guy out there, being a comedian. And he looks happy. He looks successful. It looks like his football team won a championship, while the team that he left, that he divorced, went 7-9. It was a brutal season for the Patriots. Brutal season for Bill Belichick. Brutal season for Cam Newton. And, you know, now that we're going into this next season, you expect the Bucs. I would think the Bucs are going to have another good season. I think Tom Brady's going to have another good season. At this point, you can't doubt this guy anymore. You just can't do it. Every single time we do, he drags us through the mud. Every single time. So I'm done doing that. But, guys, with this upcoming season and seasons beyond, really, what's going to happen here with Bill Belichick's legacy? So let's say, hypothetically, could more Tom Brady success and more Patriots wild mediocrity harm the Bill Belichick legacy? Because, you know, greatest coach of all time. But with more Tom Brady success and more Patriots mediocrity going forward, is that going to damage it at all? Marv, let's start with you. What do you think?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Belichick's legacy is solidified. I mean, yes, Tom Brady winning on the short term, we're going to have these talk shows and we're going to have all of these podcasts about, oh, man, what does this look like on Bill Belichick? But when you're talking legacy, you're talking about long term. And Belichick is solidified. What coach ever has won a championship without great players or a great team? You can't name me one. It's impossible. And then you look at down the line, let's think about a coach like Vince Lombardi. I don't know much about Vince Lombardi. I never watched Vince Lombardi. I don't think any of you guys were alive to watch Vince Lombardi either. However, what do we know about him? He's got the Super Bowl trophy named after him. Oh, he won 5 Super Bowls. We don't talk about any of his losses or what happened when he didn't win any more Super Bowls after that. We just know the stats, that he was the ultimate winning coach at his time. And that's what Belichick's going to be known for years down the line, is a guy who won 6 and maybe possible more championships. We don't know when he's going to retire. But currently, he was won 6 championships with the New England Patriots. And that's what his legacy is going to be known for moving down the line. I don't think anything that Brady does is going to diminish what Belichick does. And if anything, all it does is just heighten what Brady's been doing for the past 21 years and continue his legacy. But it does not diminish Belichick's at all.
The 2020 season specifically, I don't think that harmed the Bill Belichick legacy at all. Because that team, that roster was bad. But because that roster was bad, I think that certainly does damage the Bill Belichick GM legacy, which has been in question for a few years now. The Bill Belichick GM legacy, it did not give this guy any favors. Bill Belichick, the GM, can't stand, has a vendetta against Bill Belichick, the head coach, because what he supplied him last year was brutal. And we knew Tom Brady was going. Right? Like, it seemed like we really understood that for a few years that Tom was going to be gone soon. You thought there might be a plan in place, but there just wasn't. All right, Mike, what do you think? Could it damage the legacy?
I mean, it's tough to damage, 20 years of success. Marv just said it all. This Belichick, the Patriots organization, they've enjoyed a lot of success, 6 Super Bowl rings. It's tough to say that a legacy. I mean, again, we don't know when Belichick is going to call it quits, but it's tough to just say, well, these last couple of years, weren't good, but, let's just forget about 20 years of success. At the same time, a lot of talk shows and the media and whatnot, if hypothetically speaking, Belichick is not a winning coach these next couple of years to come. He wasn't winning in 2020. Who knows what 2021 is going to bring? And, like I said, we don't know how long he plans on coaching. But if by chance he coached another 3, 4, 5 years and they were the same type of 7-9 team, barely on the brink of a playoff berth, not making the playoffs, maybe just a wild card team. If that's where Bill Belichick and his teams hovered around these next couple of years, like I said, I don't think overall it will damage how people view Bill Belichick years from now. But obviously, it's going to be conversation. They're like, okay, he had the greatest quarterback of all time. The greatest quarterback all time left the team, and then he couldn't necessarily recapture the same amount of success he did when he had Brady. It's a conversation that will be had, and even maybe years down the line, it could be had as to why wasn't Belichick able to recapture the same amount of success he had with Tom Brady. But overall, if you're speaking overall, similar to what Marv said when you're talking about a great coach like Vince Lombardi, at the end of the day, especially if they name some award after Belichick or something like that, who knows? But, his legacy, because of 20 plus years over what could the next 3, 4, 5 years look like, it's solidified. But if you're ever going to have a deep conversation about, Bill Belichick's coaching career or Bill Belichick's GM career, it definitely would be brought up that once Tom Brady left, the Patriots organization under Bill Belichick's leadership wasn't the same ever again, if that's how it panned out.
Right. And I agree with both of you guys. I don't think it's going to ever actually damage the legacy, but it's just going to create a ton of conversation going forward.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be good talks. Good talk, good energy.
It's going to be a lot of good talks.
But it can't damage Belichick.
Like, will you say, like right now, I think most people will have Belichick maybe top 5 greatest coaches of all time. People might have him number 1, top 3. I don't know.
I was going to say, I think it's more number 1.
No one has the top 5.
Okay, number 1. Say if Belichick these next 3, 4, 5 years, however long he coaches, doesn't make another playoff appearance. Does that get in? You guys are saying, it's solidified 20 plus years. I kind of said that too. But does he move off of that spot?
No, because
top 5 or number 1?
Who number 1? You both said he's number 1. If he has the next 5 seasons where he doesn't make the playoffs and then retires, is he still top 5? Is he still number 1?
Yeah, because it'll take another 30, 40 years for someone to beat what Belichick just did. He already reached the mantle. There's nothing he can do to fall off the mantle unless someone else surpasses him.
But you better believe that whole conversation about was it Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, people are just going to be like it was Tom Brady. If Tom Brady continues to do what he was doing and continues to win, and again, I think they're going to have another good season this year. I do. But if Tom continues to win and Bill, let's go with what Mike said, doesn't make the playoffs, it's a bad look. That's a real bad look. Not only did Tom Brady win the Super Bowl without you, he won immediately. He won the second that he left you. So that's gonna drive up that conversation.
But then the argument's gonna be, it's kind of similar to the Kobe Shaq debate, where it's like, oh, Kobe won 3 rings, but that was off of the back of Shaq. You look at the first 3 rings Tom Brady got, you could make the argument that was off the back of Bill Belichick and his defense.
Yeah, I mean, that.
Tom Brady wasn't lighting it up. Tom Brady wasn't lighting it up in those Super Bowl runs. He wasn't lighting it up.
No, that was a defense-driven Super Bowl dynasty.
Yes, it was. I agree.
And yeah, you can attribute that, I guess, to Bill Belichick then. But that's the thing. Nobody's going to have those conversations because defense isn't pretty. Defense isn't fun. Unless you're the Chicago Bears, defense isn't fun. People don't get all jacked up over defense if you're a casual football fan. People want to see what Tom Brady does and put up the numbers.
That's true. Then if you're a casual football fan, you shouldn't be having these discussions.
Yeah, that's true. You're probably not having these conversations. Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's where I think it stands at the moment.
Hey, this is comedian J.L. Covan, best known for his impression of Donald Trump. I'm going to be at City Winery in Boston for one night only, July 26th at 8 p.m. Hope to see you there.
We're getting closer to the fantasy football drafts, guys. I got my invite this week. We're going back to Yahoo Fantasy. I'm excited. I'm jacked up. I came in second last year. I don't know.
You weren't on Yahoo before?
No, listen, I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed, but we used to use NFL.
Oh my gosh.
Ugh. Hey, but you know what? NFL is better than ESPN's.
I
believe.
think so too.
NFL's
People give
better
NFL a lot of crap.
NFL's is better than ESPN's.
ESPN's is trash.
ESPN's the worst.
Trash.
Yahoo's the way to go.
Yeah.
100%.
Just off the strength that they give me a whole breakdown report card after my draft, I'm sold. That's all I need to see.
The NFL does that well. Does that as well.
Oh, okay. I've never done fantasy off of NFL, but I love what Yahoo brings to the table.
Yahoo's solid. I came in second last year. My keeper this year. I mean, so do you guys do keeper leagues?
No, I don't think I've ever done a keeper league.
We do a keeper league. You lose the draft pick that you drafted the guy from last year. I'm keeping J.K. Dobbins, and I'm very excited for that pick. No, I'm excited for the J.K. Dobbins pick. I think he's going to have a year, and I'm not biased. I think he's going to have a good season.
Hope it works in your favor, man.
J.K. Dobbins will not be on my radar this year. I'll tell you that much.
Well, he's already on my team, so that's all I need. All right, so guys, with the drafts coming up, you know, there's been some debate, I would say, between two positions, really. At least I have this debate with my friends. I don't even know if this is a real debate for a lot of people. But when you're drafting, which position, I'm not even saying single player, which position is the most important for you to draft well if you're going to have a successful fantasy football season? Mike, let's start with you. What do you think? You drafted the entire Bucs roster last year. I just wanted to throw that in here.
Not the entire. It was definitely Brady and Gronk. And oh no, I did have.
There was more than two.
Come on, Mike. Come on,
I have Brady, Gronk, and Godwin. I definitely did. And it didn't really pan out. Oh, I got rid of Gronk halfway through the season. Then he became old school Gronk at like the second half of the year. But when you're talking about a position that you definitely need to lock down and have secured, in my opinion, you have to have. I mean, everybody's points leads, but you have to have a running back that's gonna almost week in and week out be either number one, top three when you're talking about putting up points. If I don't have a running back that week in and week out is leading my team in scoring, something went wrong, in my opinion. I need to have a guy who I can look at, insert there, and don't have to move him unless it's a bye week. So usually when it comes time to drafting, I'm trying to see in that first round, all right, what running back, depending on what pick I have again, for sure, you got to make sure you have that figured out. But I mean, I'm trying to find out which running back I can lock up and make sure that this guy is going to be secured in my starting lineup week in and week out. And I only need to worry about taking him out on the bye week. You know, obviously you hope that injuries don't become a factor, but at the end of the day, I need a guy who's going to be leading my team at the running back position. That's in my opinion what's most important. Obviously, you know, you can go various different directions again depending on what pick you have in your draft. But I definitely think most people are trying to figure out who they can grab at the running back position and then figure out the rest of their draft from there.
All right, you're talking running back. Question for you. If you have a top 5 pick this year, I feel like this guy is going to be hit or miss. If you have a top 5 pick this year.
Like, do I have
a say just first round. Let's just even say first round. In your first round, he's available when he gets down to you. Saquon Barkley.
Uh-huh.
You taking him? Because I feel like he's going to be hit or miss.
You know what?
Especially after that injury.
It was not last year, maybe the year before. Because what is Saquon in? Is going in his third year?
He's going into his fourth year.
Okay. So that year 2, after he had the breakout wild rookie season, I drafted him first overall. I don't remember what pick I had, but I definitely had the ability to grab Saquon, and I took him with whatever pick I had. And, you know, coming off that rookie, it's probably definitely a top 5 pick for sure. I took him, and
maybe
I think
even top 2 or 3.
Yeah. You might have got him at 2.
something like that. Something like that. I grabbed him, and I definitely believe he had an injury-riddled season, and it screwed me a lot, because again, in my opinion, in my view, I'm trying to lock up a guy who's I don't have to move out of that lineup. And when I took Saquon, I was like, all right, RB1, he's set, solid, locked in. And then when I went drafting, having him, I'm like, okay, well, now I can not really focus in on running backs too much, because I'm assuming Saquon Barkley's gonna, put up mega points week in and week out. So because I had that mindset moving through the draft, and then he got hurt, running back position became an area where, okay, now I need to figure out things week in and week out, because I don't have that guy solidified. Who am I plugging in? Got to worry about matchups, this and that. But this year, am I taking Saquon top 5? I don't know. I definitely have several guys.
Tough, dude, because he can put up numbers. He has that. I mean, he obviously has that potential, but you just don't know right now. Especially because he doesn't even know if he's playing week 1.
It's year 4, and he's already had a couple major injuries. Like he had a broken ankle and then a torn ACL. Like running back position, once you start breaking down, it becomes over for you fairly quickly. Not many guys last. Yeah, not many guys last long at running back position, first and foremost. And then if you're dealing with a lot of major injuries early in your career, it puts a halt to how far your career potentially could have gone. And Saquon has now dealt with 2 major injuries. I don't care how many hype videos come out or how many times they show off his quadriceps and hamstrings and whatnot. If you're dealing with major injuries, I don't know, man. At the running back position, it's tough because you take a lot of beating.
Well, that's how I feel with a lot of running backs. Not that you don't know, but it's mostly. Yeah, I worry because they get old so quick, and somebody can have a huge season, and then the next year just doesn't look nearly the same. I mean,
Peyton Hillis.
Peyton Hillis is a different story. He vanished. He disappeared.
Who?
I don't even think he existed.
Cover
He was like Brian
2012,
Hoyer.
bro. Come on.
Don't do that.
I know. He was like Brian Hoyer, though, after the Kansas City game. He was just gone. He never come again. And I worry about guys like Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry's an absolute beast.
Monster.
But he takes so many big hits because he's so freaking big that I worry that he's going to get old quick. All right, Marv, what's your position?
Before I even get to my position, I got the number 6 pick. If people let Saquon drop to number 6, I thank baby Jesus, because I will grab
I wouldn't
him.
be shocked if he was there.
If they let Saquon at 6, I'm grabbing him with no hesitation. Look, I know running backs get injured. They bounce back. Dalvin Cook is the perfect example. Dalvin Cook suffered major injuries to start off his year. And now Dalvin Cook's probably going to be a top 2, top 3 pick in the fantasy draft. Yeah. I'm getting Saquon, generational talent. The guy is a monster. Anytime you hand him the ball, it could be a touchdown at any moment. And that's what you want in fantasy. High risk, high reward. I'll definitely grab a Saquon Barkley if he falls out of the top 5. Now with the pick that is most important, I'm going to focus on this year specifically and say the tight ends. I think the tight end crop is very, very limited. There's 2 tiers. You got the first tier, obviously, of Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and Darren Waller. I think you could put him up there as the top 1 tier. And then the second tier is really what? Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson, probably. Out of those 5.
Yeah. Noah Fant has the potential. He's like, I think he's on the cusp.
He has potential, but he's not there. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet. So outside of those 5 players I just named, it gets shaky bakey outside of that 5. And you really want, for me personally, I really want to secure a top 5 tight end, because that's where the separation lies. When you have, I had Travis Kelce one year, and it's just, you don't have to worry about anything on that tight end position. He's going to get
it changes the game.
He changes everything. And then you're facing another guy who has a bum as a tight end, who's 1 week's going to give him 12 and another week's going to give him 6. You don't have to worry about that. And you have a separation when it comes to your opponent. So this year specifically, because the crop is so low, in my opinion, I'm focusing on the tight end position. I think it's huge right now that you need to secure a top 5 one. And unfortunately, it sucks drafting a tight end early because you want to, lock up the running backs and the wide receivers and such. But sometimes you got to take that risk and make sure you have a tight end that you can just stick in and not have to worry about.
That's a good one because you're right. It's so limited, and everybody else is such a question. But when you look at the Patriots tight end system right now, those are 2 guys that you might want to consider grabbing.
Late drafts, definitely late rounds. You might want to give a shot at Jonnu or Henry.
Right, they might be there for a solid value pick later in your draft.
And it's crazy is if you think about those 2 guys, if they weren't on the Patriots and they remained with the teams that they were originally on, they probably would have gone much higher. But it's the fact that they're on the Patriots now that people are probably like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe later rounds for sure. Because I definitely would think Jonnu and Hunter Henry are going much earlier if they were still on the Chargers and the Titans.
Oh, 100%. For sure. And that's what I'm thinking. Like if you're outside of New England, like I think that Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry are probably going to go a little too high if you're from this area because people are excited to have the tight ends here and they're going to want to draft their tight ends and watch them every week. But if you're outside of New England and you're not with a bunch of Patriots fans, then I bet you they're going to be there for some solid late round picks.
For sure.
I really wanted to say the kicker position. Because let me tell you, I grab early. I get Justin Tucker early, and he's won me plenty of games. He puts up points for me.
And
he's a lock. Position. I love it. I love it because I always get Justin Tucker. I make sure I get him. And I used to get Gostowski when he was nasty.
Oh, boy. Now, I used to hate the kicker position, too. And then one year, I had Robbie Gould in San Francisco, and that guy was an automatic like 15 points a week. And I never thought I'd see that from a kicker consistently. And then from
get the right guy.
Yeah, from that point, from that season on, after I had Robbie Gould, I said, okay, if you got the right kicker, that's a light 12 to 15 points you can get every week. So I hear 100%.
You. 100%. And I'm not going to go kicker because I know people will drag me if I go with the kicker. But I mean, I'm going with the semi. It's not like a hot take, but like the receiver position, just because I feel like it's so damn inconsistent. Like you can get one of these top guys, and if he's not putting up the consistent numbers that you need him to, then you're going to have a tough season. I feel like with the receiver position, there's a couple guys that just put up huge numbers every single week, and then. Am I wrong to say that it's kind of like the tight end position where I think there's more at the top, but then after you hit a certain number, it drops drastically?
You think so?
I do think so.
I think when it comes to receivers, like waiver wire, you can always find receivers.
Well, see, I think the waiver wire, which kills me.
When the running back goes down, you're hurting.
Yeah.
But when a receiver goes down, you can always find someone out there that's going to help you out.
I agree.
You know who killed me last year? Was Michael Gallup.
Oh my God.
You about to have me swear on here. You about to have me swear on here, Nick.
Oh my God.
Killed me.
Please. Remind me.
When I tell you, I thought I had the steal of the draft. Taking that guy.
Every fantasy show, all these podcasts, these YouTube videos, because that's how you do your research nowadays. They're all like, if there's one guy that you got to get, it's Michael Gallup. Go get Michael Gallup. He's going to have a huge year. And then even early on in the season, when people were like, what's wrong with Michael Gallup? They're like,
they still pushed him.
You kept playing him.
They were like, keep playing him. He's going to pop off.
I remember when I finally let go of him, and it took me. I let go of players quick. If you ask anyone, if you don't perform for me, I drop you. I held on to Michael Gallup because he would do this one play at the end of the game where it's like, oh, okay, that's the momentum for next week, and it just never happened. CD Lamb came over there and just said, yeah, it's mine.
Yes, destroyed him. It was like I was excited to have that pick. I was excited to grab him. I thought he was going to have an awesome year, and he just refused. He wouldn't do it. A batch of receivers that I'm super interested in this year is the Bengals because of Joey Burrow.
They got a lot of receivers. I don't know if I'm going to touch any of them because they're all going to perform. I just don't know who's going to be the breakout performance.
Right, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's one of those offenses where they all put up numbers.
They got some good receivers, man.
Do you think Joe Burrow's going to have – do you think they're going to let him throw a lot after the injury last year? They're going to have to, right?
They don't really have a crazy running game. They got him.
Oh, my God.
They got a weapon.
I was going to say, speaking of underperforming every year.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you guys fall for – I don't know how people fall for Joe Mixon every year.
Mixon fooled me back-to-back years. I feel like a real dummy.
I remember Mike got him the second time. I said, what are you doing?
I had faith. I said he knew because the thing is he sucked that first year, but like he still led like the AFC or the AFC North in like rushing yards or something like that.
Oh my God.
So I had hope that he can build off of that. And I'm the dummy. It's okay. I'm the dummy.
I wish I could see what pick he went in last year in my league, because I remember when he got drafted, I remember being like, I remember it was super early. It might have been like second round, first round. But even so, I was like, what are we doing? Why are we playing Joe Mixon? This guy's just if I had him on my team, I would pull my hair out.
Yeah. That was me.
Joe Mixon stinks.
Bro. Don't tell me. You're just I don't even want to talk about it. It's a new season. I'm gonna have a new team. Hopefully, I'm not taking any guys from last year that I had, unless they're one of the top guys. But it's a new season. 2 leagues. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, Joe Mixon in my league went pick 20, so round 2, end of round 2, which still is too high. I wouldn't, if he was there for me, I would not have taken him. I wouldn't have touched him.
And he's still going to manage to be probably picked up in the second or third round.
He's the RB1 over there. He's the top guy, but like he just sucks.
Yeah, I'm talking myself into it right now in my head. What am I doing?
Yeah, he gets touches. He'll be a great.
I'm gonna end up taking him.
He's gonna be a great flex and bye week guy for me. I'll get him in the 5th round.
If he's there late, I'll take him.
Y'all gotta draft him again.
I will not put Joe Mixon back on my team, even if it was for a bench spot.
I'm taking him 2nd round. I'm gonna end up being an idiot. I'm gonna remember this conversation during my draft. He's gonna be there and be like, oh.
That should be the next topic. Who's a player you will never draft, even if it was at a perfect spot, late still? There's a person you will never draft again because they did you so much harm.
Let's hold it for next week. That's it. That's the draft. That's the topic for next week. That's a little teaser. That's a big league teaser there, baby.
I'll be ready for that one.
Yeah, I got plenty.
I got a list.
Nick Quaglia, Marv, Ezhan, Mike Molyneaux. Guys, we're going to be back next week with another set of the CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. Again, Nick Quaglia, Marv, Ezhan, and Mike Molyneaux.